I was 13 when it happened. My family used to live in a small village by the river. Everyone knew everyone, and stories traveled fast. One story that stayed with me was about Auntie Mansa. She wasn't really my auntie, just an older woman everyone called Auntie. Mansa had three children. They were quiet, thin, and always looking like they have been crying. She wasn't kind to them. She would scream at them for the smallest things, make them fetch water all day, and send them to bed without food. But in front of people, she smiled and acted like she loved them. One day, my father sent me to their house to return a pot we borrowed. I didn't want to go. Something about Auntie Mansa's house always felt wrong. Too quiet, too dark, even during the day. When I got there, the house was silent. The door was open, so I knocked and stepped inside. Hello, I called. No one answered. But then I heard something like crying, but soft, like someone was trying not to make noise. It was coming from behind the house. I walked round and saw her older son Tayo tied to a tree. His hands were behind his back and his mouth was covered with a cloth. He was shaking, his eyes red and wet. Before I could say anything, I heard Auntie Mansa's voice. What are you doing here? She begged. I froze. She was standing behind me, holding a long cane. Her face was calm, but her eyes weren't. I came to return this, I stammered, holding out the pot. She snatched it from me and pointed to the road. Go home, now. I ran. That night, I told my parents what I saw. My father frowned but didn't say much. It's not our business, he said. But my mom shook her head. That woman is wicked, she whispered. One day the spirit will deal with her. 2 weeks later, it happened. The whole village woke up to screams from Auntie Mansa's house. People ran to see what was going on. I followed, staying close to my father. When we got there, Auntie Mansa was outside, crying and shaking. She kept pointing at the river, but no words were coming out. Her children were gone. The story spread quickly. That morning, she had sent all three of them to fetch water. They never came back. Some men went to search the river. They found their bucket floating, but nothing else. People whispered that it was the river spirit. They said the spirit took the children to punish their mother for her wickedness. Auntie Mansa changed after that. She stopped talking to anyone. She stopped leaving her house. Some nights I would hear her screaming, but no one went to check on her. A year later, she disappeared. Some say she left the village. Others say the spirit came for her too. I don't know what really happened, but sometimes when I pass the river, I think I hear crying, soft like someone trying not to make noise. The end.